groups of organizations across the nation in Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and New York, 40 organizations so far that are going to be against hate speech nationwide. Nationwide, you know that we have incredible problems with hate speech and its consequences. And its consequences are because people are talking that way, they're getting hurt, they're getting attacked, they're getting violently assaulted and so forth. We can't have that. Well, there have been so many. Trying to get the studios, whether it be network or films, to open up the opportunities for Latino and other people of color as well. It isn't just Latinos. But there have been big fights over that. They don't want to release the data because the data is so bad when it comes to hiring people of color. They don't want to expose it. They don't want to be known as bigots. They don't want to be known as racist. And many of them are not bigots and they're not racist. But you know what? They don't think. So they engage in behavior that is bigoted, that they feel that Latinos are not on the same level as other people, whites, who are already at the job. They don't want to share, and they don't want to share because they're good jobs. Well, I have great sympathy for those actors that have had to change their names to be able to work, or have been offered only those roles that are demeaning. One of my biggest friends was a woman with the name of Lupe Ontiveros, who passed away a few years back. Lupe played the best maid you can ever imagine. She was absolutely wonderful. And why didn't she do other roles? Well, because they weren't offered. So if you were an actor and that's all you were offered, that's what you're going to take. And you're going to hope that organizations such as the National Hispanic Media Coalition will force those entities to do films that have Latinos in other roles, as presidents, as gardeners, and why not? But also as lawyers, as police officers, as educators, and like everybody else. We are like everybody else. Everything in terms of show business starts with the writers. It is the written word, okay? So we're keen on writers. I started off as a writer. So without a script, you don't have a show. It's really that simple. So we have a program that we've been putting out there for 14 years, going on 15 years. And it's become incredibly successful. Out of the 140 people that have gone through the program, a good 40 of them are working professionals. In fact, I was just speaking to the person that runs the program. They're not just starting writers, they're story editors, they're executive story editors, they're executives already. So we're getting to the point where it's just a matter of time before 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of those writers creates their own show. And you know very well if they create their own show, they won't be able to help themselves. They'll include Latino, heads. They will be the top people in the show. So we're very hopeful that we can achieve that and achieve that quickly. So that's a big, big one. The one that I just told you about is trying to do away with hate speech because it's so demeaning, so offensive. And we are no longer in the times of our fathers, where my father and many other fathers had to walk into an office with their hat in their hand because, they didn't have a command over the language and they couldn't push as we can push now to have things change. So there's a lot of things along those lines that are changing. We need to have the agencies, talent agencies, and the manager agencies have more Latino clients. They keep talking about the fact that they want to have representation like the nation is, but they do nothing to really make it work. So we're forcing the issue with the film companies, with the management companies, with the representation companies, the agencies, with the agents, so that in fact they start putting their work where their mouth is. Change is not going to come just because they say it or because we want it. It's going to happen because they were kind of slowly pushed into it. How can it be that if they're both covering the news, one is getting less pay because it is a Spanish language network versus English language? But there's a reality we have to face there, okay? And that is that the reality is that the big advertising companies do not offer the same funds for a Spanish language show that they offer for an English. So therefore, the company that owns both companies, let's say for example, like Telemundo that has NBC, well, they get X number of dollars for English, for NBC, right? But when it comes to Telemundo, all of a sudden the pay drops. Well, it isn't management's fault that controls both entities. It is the advertisers who say, well, these people don't quite matter as much to us, okay? Which is a big error on their part because we don't know how to keep our money in our pocket. So what we need to do, like I said to you before, is force them into that position. And one of the things that we're going to be doing this year is going to Madison Avenue in New York and start talking to the advertising firms about why is this happening and when are you going to step up and pay the same amount of money so that our reporters and our anchors at the local level are being paid what their peers are making, you know, across the hall. They're housed in the same place. You go to NBC over here, NBC has Telemundo in the same floor. Yes. It doesn't make any sense. And sometimes they get the Spanish language reporter to work on an English language show. But what I tell people like you that are in college is, why are you going to be in Spanish language where it's so competitive? Go into the English. You can start in the Spanish if you want, but the goal has got to be in the English. And why? Because we need you there. You know, it can't be that we're all talking the same story in Spanish language programming. We need the young talent of today to be going into English language and making their mark there. We're like everybody else, right? We have the education, we have the same words. Some of us are bilingual that can go back and forth, okay? And that's wonderful. But where we really need talent is in the English language. We need to show this country how adept we are, how good we are at what we do. And we're not going to be able to do that if we're all crowding around Telemundo, Univision, and the others. Besides, something else is happening. We're not having as many immigrants coming into this country from Central and South America as we once did. In fact, if anything, we're losing immigrants. They're going back home. They're going back home. So that audience for Spanish language is shrinking. So then what is the alternative? The alternative is English. Right. It's always been English. So from where we sit, we want to have more of you young people going into English language programming.